Hi, Glenna Cleek here with Encore Ministries of First United Methodist Church in Benton. I'm very glad to get to be back with you. As some of you may know, I had to have surgery a while back, and I was not able to do the devotional video for a while. I appreciate so much your calls, your texts, and your cards. But most of all, thank you so much for your prayers. I have to say that getting sick and having to go to the hospital for surgery during this pandemic was not part of my plans. And I think I even said to God, Lord, you know I have things to do. I have things to do for you, and so why? But one night when I couldn't sleep very good, I got up in the middle of the night and searched God's Word. And I found an old familiar verse, in fact, two. And the first one is Proverbs 16:9, and it said, "The mind of man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." And the other one was Proverbs 19:21. "Many plans are in a man's heart, but the purpose of the Lord will prevail." You know, God wanted me to get well and to be healthy again. How could I possibly argue with that? I've heard many stories over the years about people who had their own plans and it ended up that God had a better plan for them. I remember hearing about a family who decided that they wanted to move far away to another part of the country for a new job. It was a place where the family had always longed to live, and they had relatives there, and the school opportunities were wonderful, and the job was just perfect for the father. So they knew that that was just right for them. So he made out a resume and sent it off, and then they began to pray. And they prayed and they prayed. They knew that this was exactly where God wanted them to be. But you know what? It ended up that he didn't get the job. They were all very disappointed. About 6 months later, the daughter in the family was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. And guess what? The best place in the whole nation for her to be treated was right there in the city where they lived. God knew. His love and care for them prevailed. His plan for them was better. You know, there are a lot of stories in the Bible about people whose plans are changed or by our sovereign God. Just think about Jonah. You know, he had plans to run away in the opposite direction of Nineveh, where God had called him to go. And God had to use some really drastic measures to get him back to Nineveh and for his purpose to prevail. Think about Paul. Paul planned to go to Asia Minor to preach the gospel, but God had a different plan for him and sent him to Macedonia, where the gospel spread in Europe. There are so many reasons why we can trust God's plan over our own, but I want to give you two very good reasons. Number one, God knows the future. He sees the future. He knows what lies ahead. And the second reason is His ways are higher than our ways. We can trust Him and His plans that are better for us than anything we could ever imagine. I don't even begin to know why God allows certain things, even like this COVID virus, to happen. But I do know this. For those who belong to Him, our all-knowing, all-powerful, always present, sovereign God knows exactly what He is doing, and we can absolutely trust our lives to Him. Dietrich Bonhoeffer has a quote that goes right along with this. It says, "Thy ways are past understanding, but thou knowest the way for me." After all, He says in Jeremiah 29:11, which we're all so familiar with, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you next week.